Mama, have you ever built something that looked successful on the outside while it was quietly draining you inside? Today, I sat down with Sarah Stokes and we had a real conversation about outgrowing businesses we thought we should build and what it looks like to realign profits with purpose and joy. If you've been craving more fulfillment, this conversation's for you. Hey, mamas, welcome back to Mamas Building Businesses. I am incredibly ecstatic at the guest we have today. We have Sarah Stokes with us, and she is a business joy coach, an author, and a mama. Sarah, thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thank you for having me. I love what you're doing, and it has been so fun getting to know you.
Absolutely. And you and I have been through, we're just really in alignment. I am actually, for anybody out there, oh, it's a little blurry. Sarah wrote this incredible book called Worth the Squirm: How Our Businesses Help Us Heal. We'll have the link in the bio. I'm reading this currently. So just wanted to give a little
Okay.
plug. So, Sarah, tell us a little bit about who you are as a woman, as a
Mhm.
mama, but as a business owner.
Sure. Well, thank you so much for having me. I am the business owner that I dreamed of long ago. So I've been an entrepreneur for 12 years after a long TV news career and having my kiddos. It did not work. Their dad and I were both co-anchors, so we were on the news until 11 at night. And our babies were getting to the point where they didn't want to fall asleep at daycare anymore. So I am the entrepreneur who I needed 12 years ago now, right? And mom of two. My kids are 13 and 14 now. And we have our juicy good life for sure. So I've been married 20 years. My kids are fabulous. And we're in this season of life where it's like we're in the bleachers for their sporting events or we're resting because of all the stuff we're doing all week. And then business wise, I get to literally help heal the world one businesswoman at a time through the coaching that I get to do with giving, generous, mission driven women who are also moms for the most part. And so I'm like that lady that loves to be in her pajamas, that best friend you want to have coffee with on the porch. That's who like I am at my core. I feel like that woman who just wants to hear your story, who wants to love you, and I'm healing my own stuff along the way. So I'm this. I feel like I'm just that, yeah, that front porch best friend energy for myself, and then the women I get to do business with and for my family, you know? So it's just bringing that Sarah to my life. And also a woman who can kick butt when she wants to, you know, and who can also completely hermit and not talk to a soul all weekend. So I'm an interesting yeah, pajama badass. Is that a thing?
Let's coin
I
it.
think we just
A
made it.
pajama
Yeah.
badass. Yes.
Yeah.
Let's coin that. So when you were talking, you really gave me goosebumps because I resonate with what you're saying so much. I shared this with you when we first met that I had looked at your social profiles and I was like, oh, she used to own a marketing agency. I wonder if we've had a similar experience. Because when you are in like a highly deliverable service-based business, like a marketing agency, it is very easy. I'll speak from my experience. It is very easy to lose sight of what you really want in life, right? So you're the founder of the Juicy Good Life, which I couldn't love the name of that any more than I already do. But um, it's easy to lose sight and just like, oh, we hit this goal, so we're going to make a bigger goal. We're going to make a bigger goal. And in my experience, I was at a place where financially I was very successful in my business, but I was very burnt out. Like my cup was not full. I wasn't able to show up for my kids the way I wanted. And when I really looked around and I wasn't focused on profit and I just looked around, I'm like, I don't want any of this. I don't want to work 14-hour days. I don't want to be stressed out. I don't want to manage a team of 12 people. I don't want to be on a hamster wheel with clients, right? And so I'm you have a concept that women should de-should their business.
Yeah.
So can you speak to that a little bit? And your own breakthrough that took you from running multi-million dollar businesses to being a pajama badass.
Yeah. I want to cry right now, Erica. Like, I feel you so much on the when we looked around, I finally hit every goal I wanted to owning a marketing agency, right? And I can't even believe how similar our stories are.
I
We
know.
serve different clients, but the big team, the the seven-figure years, and then waking up to, wait a minute, I don't even want this. We built this beautiful cage, is how I used to describe it. Like, built everything on paper. Should have been amazing. But yeah, I was coaching alongside owning a marketing agency for a couple of years. That seems to be my rhythm is like, oh, I start a business and do them simultaneously until I'm like, wait a minute, this one's way cooler for me. So I was helping women not should on themselves. So I describe a should as something we think we have to do to be successful, but it's not a soul yes, right? It's not even something we want. It's different than a commitment, right? Like we have commitments. We're going to keep our kids fed and happy and do our things as moms. But in the company, I was like, I don't want to even set new goals for this company. I'm complete. I've taken this season of life and gotten everything that I needed to out of it, including learning some hard lessons, right? And it's like I was hiring more nannies and more housekeeping help and a full-time assistant and all of this stuff. And I'm like, what am I even doing? I don't even want. So I hear you. And I think that's what I've unlocked myself and then with the clients I help is the shoulds of our businesses that are so socially co-signed, right? Like so culturally co-signed. They're the stuff that keeps us exhausted, broke, and frustrated. Overwhelmed. It's usually shoulds. And then we can actually fall in love with whatever business we want to have, but not fill it up with shoulds. And that's how we keep the profits and the joy and the freedom. So now it's like, oh my gosh, you can actually do what you want. You don't have to suffer in silence inside this beautiful cage. So whether you walk away from a business like we did to build something new, or whether you refine and de-should your current business, like it's possible. That's just the hope I want to instill as I listen to you and as I reflect on my past. Like it's possible to have business joy and freedom, the thing we actually thought we were getting into business to have, freedom and joy.
It is, and you're making me tear up too because I think what's so incredible about us being able to have this conversation is there are a lot of women listening who are in the very beginning phases of their business. And I think, especially for moms, a lot of times we get into business out of survival,
Mm-hmm.
whether that's survival for finances, whether it's survival to keep our kids out of childcare. Like it can be varying things, right? But it is a semblance of survival. And when you are in that mode of desperation,
Yeah.
you make decisions from a place of survival and desperation. You do not necessarily make decisions from a place of purpose, from a place of desire or passion.
Yeah.
And to be clear, when you do have that business you love, we still work hard.
Yeah.
It's not that, oh, well, I used to work really hard and now I don't. But the difference between those two versions of hard work, and you can probably articulate this way better than I can, but the difference of those two types of hard work is, do I constantly feel burnt out and like I'm failing, or do I feel maybe a little tired, but I'm energized because I'm loving what I'm doing?
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've experienced that between your old business, and I'll say your old business and new business for lack
Hmm.
of better words, but I just shared with you, I've recorded like 8 YouTube videos this week interviewing moms, and outside of that I've done probably 20 virtual coffees. Like I have been yapping all week just trying to get a bunch of stuff done before the holidays because my son will be off school for 2 weeks and I don't really plan on doing a ton of work during those 2 weeks.
Yep.
So it's been exhausting, but I go to bed every night feeling like my heart is so full
Yes.
because of the what.
Yeah.
It's still work.
Yeah.
And and I think especially for mamas who are newer in business, and they're in that place of desperation, it is very easy to think that more money or more success should success, right,
Mhm.
will solve your problems. And as we learned, like, to be honest with you, sometimes it's easier to be broke and not so stressed out
Right?
than it is to, there's so many things I think that people don't think about. Like when you have a team of 12, of 10, 12, if you have a team of 3 people, not only do you have to manage these people, I remember when we hired our first employees, I had a friend slash business partner who said to me, well, why don't you have any time? We have 4 people working now. I said, yeah, I went from doing maybe 50 hours a week of work of having to plan 160 hours a week of work, you
Mhm.
know? And
Yep.
then it's not just that, you have this financial pressure of, well, I started this because I wanted to make sure we had food on the table, but now I have to make sure they all have food on the table too.
Yes.
And and there's nothing wrong with that if that's somebody's desire,
Mhm.
but it is very important to have like reevaluate with yourself that the goals you're setting actually align with the life that you want.
Yes. 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 And I find that when we hire team members because we think that's the should, right? If we're not intentional, we end up mothering them. Like I'm hearing you say, now I'm not only worried about my table, I'm worried about their table. And if we're
Mhm.
nurturers already, and heaven forbid we've got overgiving, people pleasing, right, over caretaking tendencies, then a team member does not actually add the freedom, right? It adds all of that extra pressure on the entrepreneur, the visionary. And so, what I help clients do, whether they've been in business 20 years or 5 minutes, is to be so intentional about, all right, how do you want to show up as leader in this so that you actually get the freedom? Are you willing to be boundaried and have hire for not because they're in an emergency? How many mamas hire because they're like, this person needs a job really bad versus like, what's best for the company? What's best for the CEO? And so we go into it in that survival mode or caretaking, or we think it'll solve it. So no matter what business decision we're making, that intentionality and starting with what you said, like what is the goal that I actually want here? And then reverse engineer who's going to actually help me get there. Whether it's a VA or a, business manager, it all matters that we're really ready as a leader to lead ourselves and then lead them. Like you and I led our team, but I know I over caretaked to my own detriment, right? They were
100%.
getting paid and I wasn't taking a paycheck, or they were getting 6 months of grace on not actually moving the needle. And I was at home dying inside, right? Like working until midnight. So we have to like be so ready and intentional about who is coming along on this team so I don't fry myself and they're going home just not even realizing I'm frying myself and taking care of them, right?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
It is, and it's heavy. It's
Yeah.
heavy when you're the one who is you feel responsible at every level, which is kind of who we are as moms anyway.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
we want to be everybody or everything for everybody. And so when you kind of are that role in business, but it's really who you are as a person, you're just constantly pouring and pouring and pouring and pouring and pouring everywhere. So um you have scaled multiple companies to multiple millions.
Mm-hmm.
What shifted internally for you
Mm.
that made you take a step back and say, okay, like my non negotiables now have to be at an intersection where profit and joy are aligned?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it did come down to math. My accountant at the time was like, your coaching company is much more profitable than your business or than your marketing company. And he was like, "What? What?" He's like, "Look at how profitable this is." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, it is, right?" So, scaling to multiple millions does not necessarily equate juicy profits. It's so fun to say, woo, had the $1 million year, super fun. Actually, I felt more alone in that moment than I ever felt before. Now that's a mind trip because it isn't about the money, it's about what we've created for ourselves, truly, right? So a
Exactly.
six-figure business feels way juicier because of who I am, what I'm showing up in. My non-negotiables are, do do I feel like I'm making a difference in the world? That's more sustainable for me no matter what the business model, right? Do I love the humans I'm helping, right? Am I dreading any appointments? That's a huge one for me. That's a huge red flag. I don't do that anymore. If I feel like I'm going to dread it, I'm a no because that's not fair to our client, right? In the marketing agency, there were phone calls I did not want to pick up, and they were coming on Christmas Eve. Now I work with humans who are like, are you getting enough rest? Right? They're trying to mom me back. We love each other. We get each other. We're boundaried with each other. I I just it is a non-negotiable that it be profitable, that it makes sense business-wise now. I didn't used to do that when I was scaling. I was just so hungry for that top line revenue. I didn't slow down long enough to even say, is this sustainable? Does this make sense? And then we'd add a person, not thinking about, are they going to 3x their salary for us? We were just drowning in hours and deliverables, and we didn't stop and do the CEO part because we
Yeah.
were so busy scaling rapidly. And I don't regret any of it because I learned so much.
Same.
But moving forward, I would do it so differently versus that survival mode, right? Or the rapid expansion
Yeah.
without any, like, let's time out here. Because we were just so on it. We were growing so fast. And nobody stopped to say, is this team member going to just be a fire you're putting out today? Or is this actually going to make sense on the bottom line? And boy, can that get away from me fast.
Really
So,
fast. Actually, when you were saying that, and it's funny, I never thought of this like when I was in the thick of it, but when I was younger, I have one of my grandfathers is very rough around the edges, like old school Italian. Like it didn't matter if you were four, he's gonna say whatever he would say to somebody who's 25, right?
yeah.
And he used to always say to me, whenever I would like try to quick fix something when I was little, he would say, that's like putting a band-aid over a bullet hole.
Yeah.
I just like have that ingrained in my mind. And hearing you talk, I was having flashbacks. Like, how many times did I do that
Yeah.
where I'm just putting a band-aid over a bullet hole? And it is really hard. And I just really want to convey to anybody who is in the midst of that right now and listening, or if you're listening and you're going to become, maybe coming into a situation like that, is that it is so, so hard when you are in the thick of it to see
Mm.
those things.
Yeah.
So don't beat yourself up. If you've made a bad decision, I feel the same as you. I feel like there are a lot of things I like now if I built a marketing agency, I would do
Yeah.
differently, but I don't regret a single minute of it because it allows us to show up in the way that we're showing up for impact, but it
Mhm.
is so hard to see those things, and that's where business coaches are important. Like I'm a
Mhm.
very big advocate of, I've hired business coaches um because it's really hard to see, number 1 when you're in the thick of it, but number 2 when you are so emotionally invested. It can be so hard to see the most, for myself, it was so hard to see the most common sense things that I would have told anybody else to fix.
Yep.
But I was so
Totally.
emotionally invested. I
Yep.
was so stressed out.
Yep.
Sometimes we get stuck in that, like, I did it right the first time, you know?
Yep.
And so you have worked with a lot of women. I
Mhm.
am I've mentored some people in business over the years, but not at the capacity that you have. And so I'm wondering, because of all of the women you've worked with, what is the biggest mindset block that you see?
Mm. Ooh. Hmm. Can we have a tie? Can we have a tie for
Absolutely.
first? Okay, and they're probably the same. If I worked with it long enough, we'd find the one nugget. So I have to do it myself. or this is just, it just has to suck. And they're kind of same, right? So even my multi-million dollar clients still think it has to suck. That is just, you just gotta, like the Marines would say, you gotta embrace the suck. They think that that's a thing. And then that even when they have a team, a building full of people, that they have to do it themselves. And the same goes for my clients who have been in business for 5 minutes. They will say, well, I have to do this, and it's supposed to be hard. I'm like, okay, well, what if that's actually not true? It doesn't mean we're not showing up powerfully. It doesn't mean we're not it's worth the squirm, right? But like, that suffering is required. No, actually not. But it might be patience and knowing yourself more deeply, asking yourself, am I band-aiding a bullet hole? What is it in me that needs to solve this right now to feel like I have to hurry up from this discomfort? So I do feel like those are the two things, no matter where she's at, it's the most often, it boils down to that.
And I think it is really important to mention that actually I don't know that that would have been my first guess, but I don't have the
Oh,
experience
I'd be
just
curious what your guess is.
I for me, and this is just probably from my personal experience, like myself, where I feel like my biggest block has been, while I have always been an extremely confident person, I have struggled with worthiness. And so
Mm,
I have and I feel like I'm in a much better place now than I was when I had my marketing agency. But I think from like an abundance mindset and like um, being really confident in conveying my value, um, that's where I personally struggled more.
okay.
Um, with that being said, I do think that as moms, specifically, we feel as though by asking for help, we are somehow being a burden.
Totally.
Like, I think there's people that are afraid to ask for help because it's a pride thing. I think with moms, it is much more like we just don't want to be a burden. We want to be the selfless person that provides and helps others. We don't want to be the person that needs to be provided for or helped.
Right.
And it is so important when you are a business owner and a visionary to learn how to overcome that, because if your goal, whether your goal is profit or purpose, right?
Hmm.
Because those are the two reasons we have businesses, profit or purpose. And we talk about how to make them aligned.
Yep.
But no matter where you are in that right now, it's really important to know that you cannot be great at either of those things alone.
Right. Right.
It takes a village. It might, and you might be a solopreneur and you might be venting to your best friend every night, or you might be a co-anchor with your husband. And so you're like, look, we need to figure it out.
Yep.
You might not be at a place where you have a team, but it's important to know that when you shoulder everything yourself, it's not about like you are doing a disservice to the people whose lives you are impacting, either through
Hmm.
purpose or through profits.
Yeah. 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 And if I zoom way out and hear what you're saying, I bet at the root of I have to do it myself and it has to be hard is exactly the I'm not worthy and I'm a burden,
Yeah.
right? We're trying to protect from bothering anyone else ever, right? Because we know how heavy it is. And then we'll fill our business or our friend group with other people that we don't yet receive that support from. So if we think about like a village, it matters that we feel safe to receive a la worthiness. We feel worthy via safety to see that we're not alone. So even what you're creating with Mamas Building Businesses, it is like this place where people can see that others are very similar, that they are not alone, that they are not a burden, that, yeah, we're going to feel like we're putting band aids on bullet holes and we're not bad people because we did that, we made that choice.
Yeah.
But it does boil down to, am I worthy to receive the full support of my business, of my circle, like of my life, of my
Yeah.
life. And this business, I think, was divinely dropped in our laps to help us heal all of our stuff. It kicks up everything, including worthiness, including I gotta do it myselfness. Same, same, right? Yeah. And every woman I've ever met who owns a business has that same thread running through. Whether it's my multi-million dollar client who cleaned all of her offices, every branch's toilets for almost 30 years until she said, "Wait, I can hire that?" I'm like, "Yeah, you can bless somebody else's business." She couldn't get there cuz she didn't want to burden somebody. And I'm like, "What if it blessed the cleaning business?" And she's like, "I never thought of it like that," right? So we don't see how us receiving is actually a gift to that person too, because we think of it as burden. We don't see the gift. But I know you pour out and you're like, I love helping people. I love giving this platform life. And somebody else might be like, oh, am I taking up space from you? I'm so sorry, you know?
Yeah.
So building those safe places for us to practice
Yeah.
receiving and worthiness, you're doing it. Good job.
Well, thank you. It is, and I think you'd probably agree with this too, with the juicy good life, is there comes a point when you realize that your purpose is creating what you needed.
Totally.
Like, and maybe it's what you still need, right? Like for me,
Always.
nothing makes me happier than talking to moms all the time about business. I
Yes.
love being able to say to somebody, sorry I didn't send that email last night. I was going to karate chop my son.
Right?
Right? Because they get it. But and I say that kind of jokingly because I talk to a lot of mamas who are in the thick of parenting, right? And I am at a place where I am like almost an empty nester. I have one that's out of the house, I have one that's on his way out of the house, and they'll say, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry that, there's a toddler yelling in the background." It's
Yeah.
fine. It's been there, done that. This is not a space where you have to apologize. I actually spoke to two moms in the last week and a half, 2 weeks, who have been kicked out of BNI chapters. One of them was because she actually started the chapter, and she had a photographer in her group who was a mom and was like, "Hey, I'm not going to be able to come today. My childcare fell through." And she's like, "Oh, bring them." BNI kicked her out, and she started the chapter.
No.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. And this is not if anybody's from BNI. This is
Right.
not, I've never been involved in BNI.
Oh my goodness.
But the point that I'm making is for women and especially for moms, these corporate infrastructures that are in place, they just aren't amenable to our lives, no matter how brilliant you are, no matter if you are a visionary. And this isn't to knock them, it's just kind of the fact of the matter. And so it's really important to know that you can find space that
Yeah.
fits who you are in this stage of life.
Yes. Yes.
And so when you are thinking about your purpose, and there's deeper, and I'm sure there are things that you would recommend, Sarah, but there's exercises and there are a lot of things. But when you're thinking of your purpose, I always encourage people, like, start thinking about, like, who did you need?
Yeah.
Like, when you and I had marketing agencies, we needed the coach that you are right now.
Yes.
And I didn't
Yes.
have that. I had business coaches. They were good business coaches, but in different capacities.
Right.
Um, and for me, when my kids were little and I really had the heart and drive of an entrepreneur, but I didn't even know that that was a possibility. Like, you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
And so I was in the military and I was in corporate and I was like trying to like kick off things on the weekends that I wanted to do. Um, I needed something like Mom is Building Businesses. I needed to
Mhm.
be able to step into a place and be like, oh, she's doing it. Oh, she has two kids and look what she's doing.
Yeah.
It's being a mom is incredibly isolating. Even if you have friends with kids, it's isolating if your kids aren't like the exact same age and the exact same stage of life.
Mhm.
Because
Mhm.
being a toddler mom and being a teen mom are very different.
Totally different.
Um, but being a business owner is also incredibly isolating.
Yes.
And so when you have those two things, um, I'll get off my soapbox now. But when you have those
It's
two
true.
things, like just know that there are communities available and that I think that Sarah and I have both, I don't think you ever really arrive, but where we're at now in our lives and the work we're doing, it's so deeply meaningful and the conversations do bring us to tears because we are who we needed.
Yeah. Yes. It's why I started business coaching. I didn't want to claim that because of all the like, right? But I'm like,
Mhm.
I needed somebody like me, exactly what you're saying. I'm like, okay, well, I've got Tony Robbins and I've got ladies in pencil skirts on yachts. That's not me either. I'm the lady in my jammies, right? On the end of the dock watching my kids fish and still creating a business, right? So that's why I'm like, I guess it's me. I guess I'm
Yeah,
going.
like I have to be
Yeah.
this person.
Yeah.
And what's so incredible when you go through like these transitions of life, you go through, businesses that, from the outside looking in were amazing, but the inside were really hard. We now can take that experience and it can be somebody's survival guide. I
Yeah.
had a really interesting conversation actually towards the end of my marketing agency with a client who became a really, really good friend. And I want to highlight this because I would like to hear your thoughts on like how money aligns with joy.
Mm.
Because when I started thinking about what my next step was going to be or what I was going to do with these clients, um, I had some venture capitalists reach out who wanted to purchase my agency. And if I just told somebody like I'll give you guys kind of the short sheet facts. And
Uh-huh.
you're going to be like, what the heck? Why didn't you do that? I mean, that's pretty much what everybody says, but I'll tell you why I didn't. So some people know this, some people don't, but I had a lot of very high net worth value clients, right? So people on a very public platform, um, like people that get paid for endorsements, that was sort of like what my clientele was. And what I realized really quickly was these companies, they didn't really want my business. They wanted access to my clients.
Yeah.
And number one, from an ethical standpoint, like I wasn't comfortable with that. But number two, from just a purely like what's best for me standpoint, they were offering a very good amount of money. But part of the deal was I had to stay on and run the company for them for the first 2 years. And my first reaction was, well, if I don't want to do it myself, I sure as heck don't want to do it for somebody else.
Right?
But I was talking to a friend, a client who became a friend, and he's very into business. He's very into investing into businesses. And he was like, are you crazy? Who would walk away from this money? And I was at a place in my life where if that had been offered 5 or 10 years earlier, for sure I would have done it. For sure. Um, in my 30s, I went through this thing where I really shifted between like what's more valuable, time or money, right? And
Yep.
part of that is just growth. And part of it
Hmm.
is, recognizing how important presence and experiences are for our kids.
Yeah.
Um, but at that point in my life, I was like, I'm not willing to give up 2 years of my life for all the money in the world.
Right. Yeah. Makes sense
So
to me.
yeah, and I know like you feel very similar to me,
Yeah.
but for mamas listening who, maybe they're in the earlier phases, maybe they're not in a place where their business could be bought or sold yet,
Hmm.
or they're still in that survival place.
Hmm.
What are your thoughts on, determining how you grow your
Hmm.
profits and
Hmm.
when to prioritize profits compared to what is right for you in your life?
Yeah. Okay. All right.
That
Are
was a
you
big
ready for me?
question.
Are
That
you
was a
ready
big
for me to be like the rebel of the world in business coaching? I'm a rebel here.
Yes.
So I believe profits follow joy. How do I know that? I've done it. I help women do it every single day. They don't believe it's possible in the beginning, but I have a client who's an artist She used to take all the graphic design jobs, even though it wasn't where she wanted to take her company. So the point I'm getting to is, friends, hold your vision. Hold your vision of what you actually dream, the stuff that lights your heart on fire, like you talking to business mamas every day, you're doing it. Hold that vision, right? So when we get stuck in all the money first stuff, the joy depletes, the sustainability depletes, the energy depletes, and pretty soon we don't even want to sell it. Our psyche doesn't even let us sell it. So it's a diminishing return. Now, in the dude world, they don't have the same vibe. My husband did not care if it brought him joy. He wanted the money. He did not care. He was willing for me to be unhappy. Now he's a different person. But at the time, he's like, "You're what? Why would you? This is our bread and butter." I'm like, "No, it's not our bread and butter. Watch me." Right. But I had to have some major vision holding there. It's just a different thing. So we are intrinsically, typically driven by that purpose. So I don't think they're competitors. In fact, what I've noticed is, so back to the artist, she didn't believe murals could be her bread and butter, right? She's got an 8-year-old at home. She wanted to be home with her in the summer. In fact, take her on mural projects would be even juicier to her. I'm like, let's plan for that business. And she's like, yeah, but the logos make me money. I'm like, right now? I'm not kidding you. Her joy quotient painting murals for the aligned, full alignment, no resentment price has helped her grow her profits. And she's so happy that she barely has to try for marketing because she's just a magnet because she loves what she's doing. So, friends, it's both. And even if you're, so I have clients who are like, my husband told me if this doesn't work, I have to find a job. Okay. Whether it's your husband or your own inner critic, what are we going to create from that? We're going to create drudgery and we're going to be chasing the shoulds like crazy to make the money. But if I literally excavate everything that is not joyful for you to deliver because that's the most magnetic thing ever. Your brain won't believe me. It won't believe me today, and that's okay. I'll believe for us. But if you hold that vision of what you actually love, that's what we physically, psychologically, and emotionally will sell. We do not sell the thing that we've underpriced, that we don't actually want to deliver, or that we think is unsustainable or will compete with our family, our time off, whatever. We just don't even sell it. So when women come to me and say, I'm not converting, I'm like, let's find the shoulds in there because that's what your psyche doesn't want to sell. So back to the main question, the profit or the purpose. If you are not someone who compartmentalizes life with your business, profit and purpose, you can't start with the profit and expect it to feel good. You're going to end up walking away from your business, right? Or I just want to make sure I'm getting to that point. I know I'm very wordy. I get passionate. This is my soapbox moment where
Yeah,
I'm like,
no,
friends.
you're getting it right to the point in the heart of the matter. It's funny because talking to mamas who have like this brain for business that I have been talking to the last couple months and have been having these really intentional conversations. I have had a few bold mamas, which I love so much. Like it does not make me uncomfortable. Actually, I think you kind of said this to me when we first met. This is amazing what you're doing, but how are you monetizing
I
it?
did.
Right?
I
Right?
did.
You're
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
wait, you're not selling
We,
anything? And like there are things in the pipeline, but for me, I believe, and I didn't always, I did not always. Um, I believe that if you are walking in your purpose, the profits will come.
they do.
And we live in such a 3D world that is driven by money in comparison, that it can be very difficult to hold a belief that you don't see tangibly. And but I agree with you 100,000%. And for myself, I just knew if I can create what I needed and I can eliminate the financial barrier that would have been a barrier for me when I needed it, I can create other offers after that that align with those people, right? Like, let me
Yeah.
start with this because this is what I know. And I mean, it's been 2 months and like the opportunities are already coming. You know what I mean? To do that. But I do think that it is very, very important as two women who are on the other side. It doesn't mean we don't have other goals and objectives. It doesn't mean that we don't still want to accomplish more. But we can both tell you from experience, there is a true I actually made a video on opportunity cost because I don't think that people talk about it enough.
Right.
And when they do talk about it, they talk about it in the sense of, well, if I don't buy this program, how much money am I going to lose out on because of the information in that program? And that is a very real thing to
Hmm.
take into consideration. I think the best thing you can invest in is yourself. But there is also an opportunity cost of, if I do these logos to pay my phone bill right now, what is the emotional opportunity cost
Yeah.
when I'm stuck on a hamster wheel? I have to pay the phone bill again next month and I'm still miserable. There's an emotional opportunity cost there.
Totally. Yes. Yes. That's it. That's it. Yep.
So oh, it's,
It's worth
I
the
feel like we
squirm.
could talk
It
about
is
this
worth the
forever. It
squirm.
is,
Yes,
it is
yes.
worth the
It is
squirm.
worth the squirm. Not, I'm seriously not plugging my book. That's the phrase that I keep using with myself as I grow into the next version of me with the client who's like, "You mean I can't have a dream business just painting murals. We live in Wisconsin for Pete's sake." And she has the dream business she wants painting murals because turns out you paint them inside too. But her brain was like, "But I got to keep logos." And the opportunity cost was the life she wants. And it
Right.
turns out we are way more powerful business owners when we have the life we want.
We
Way
are
more.
way more. And to take it even a step further, and I don't want to get too woo woo for anybody,
I,
but
oh, I'm like, I love all the woo, Erica, bring
I
it.
love
But
the woo
but for
woo
our
too.
audience, in case they
Yes.
don't, but I love the
I
woo.
love the woo woo too. I am a massive believer. For me, it's God. For you, it could be anything else, but am a massive believer. Your natural gifts and passions are your greatest strength. They are what you are meant to use to impact the world. You were talking about an artist. Her greatest gifts and passions were murals. There is a designer out there whose greatest gift and passion is logos.
Yep.
We're not saying there's anything wrong with any of these. We live in a world where I think, for the sake of division, there's a lot of like, things are very black and white and there's no gray areas, right? Like, if you say you like murals, then oh my
Oh,
gosh,
right.
you hate
Yes.
logos.
And her past version loved logos, right?
Yeah,
Her
and we change. We
yes, yes.
change, but the skills and gifts, the things, and this is what I just want to encourage all women. The things that are on your heart, the things that light you up, that is what you are meant to change the world with.
Yeah.
I keep making a joke since I started all of this. When I was in elementary school, I got straight A's. I was grounded every time report cards came out because guess what my report card said? Talks too much in class, doesn't pay attention. And my parents were like, I'd rather have you have C's and know you're trying your hardest and being respectful, and I mean, God bless them. They were holding me to high character. I get it. But now I'm like, it's funny because I actually have some of my old teachers on my Facebook, and I was like, if those teachers could see me now, I was supposed to talk.
Yes, you were.
But
Oh,
it's so true. Like we are given these gifts because we are meant to use them. And you are not doing anybody a service by forcing yourself. I feel like it was like a business coach or a Tony Robbins or some sort of business influencer. I don't remember who said it, but they were talking about, like, we have these things that we're good at and we have these things that we're less good at. And most people will be like, oh, I'm not that good at these. Let me improve them. And you bring them here, right?
Yeah.
But if you put your focus on, well, I'm pretty good at these things. I wonder how great I can make them. And you focus on that, then you're up here.
Yes.
And if these are the things you're utilizing, you're going to be the best of the best. These things down here don't even really matter.
It's so true. Oh, that's so true.
And I
So
wish
true.
I knew who said that
I
because
think it
it
was, I think Tony says that for sure.
does he? Okay.
Yeah. And probably a
I
bunch
knew
of other
I
people now, but yeah, I know yes. Or Dean Graziosi, who he works with.
I know
Yeah.
one of them. I
Like
listen, I love
making sure that
listening to
you
those
double
guys
down on your gifts. Yeah. And that's true. But as moms, what are we conditioned for? Like,
to
we may not be the
sacrifice.
best cook in the world, but by golly, we're making sure there's dinner on the table. And then we bring that into business and it's exhausting.
It's
It's
very
exhausting.
exhausting.
Yeah,
If you don't love cooking, DoorDash.
totally. Yeah. Or that
Where
first
do
time you
you
let yourself hire a cleaning helper and your life is made better because I was the crabby Sunday night mom cleaning.
Mhm.
Why? And I did it for years. And I'm like, I do not like who I am when I'm cleaning on Sunday nights. And it actually didn't matter if it was Saturday morning or so. I was like, I don't like who I am. I'm going to go ahead and outsource this. And I didn't think I could. Didn't think I could. And
Well,
then I was
because
like,
we are made to feel like we have to do everything and that like these things are a luxury. And
yeah,
what you really start to learn when you are in the thick of your own business, if you are stretching yourself and growing, you recognize if I pay somebody $50 to clean my house for an hour on Saturday mornings, I can go make more than
yeah,
$50 in that hour.
yes,
Right? Like
correct.
it's just, it comes down to take your emotions out of it, take your pride out of it. What is the best use of your time and your resources?
Yes, yes. And then we need to, without shoulding, go ahead and go do that $100 an hour thing. And that's where I'm like, okay, if you've got neuro magical stuff going on, you might not. And then you get into a self, a loop of shame that I've hired the cleaner and now I didn't go make $100. Well, it's not going to exactly come out to that exact hour, but how can we keep showing up? So yeah, bless someone else's business and decide that you're going to show up and sell that hour or whatever, without forcing yourself into a, a corner either. Yeah,
Yep. Yep.
so true.
And it really is. And so to bring it full circle, for the mama listening who is overwhelmed,
Mm,
extended, longing for more freedom. This could be in a
mm,
job or in her business, right? So maybe she
okay.
already has a business, but she's overwhelmed. Overwhelmed. We'll leave it there. Overwhelmed and
Yeah.
stressed out, and she wants more freedom. What is the first gentle step that
Hmm.
you recommend she take?
Okay. So I would say start with I would make an inventory of all the things you're overwhelmed about, right? So you've heard of brain dumps and all of that. And then I would find the one that energetically drains you the most out of all that brain dump. Because yes, it might feel like you have 35 things that drain you equally. There's going to be one that's charged. So if I'm overwhelmed, and let's just say it's New Year's resolutions and end of year business stuff, and it's just all of it, you're going to find the one that hits on something just extra tender. And I would circle that and I would start there. How can you either love yourself through that, right? Maybe it's just extra TLC you need to give yourself. Perhaps it's something you need to make a sweaty 10-minute phone call you don't want to make, right? Say the no you don't want to say. So brain dump everything that feels overwhelming. Because overwhelming, I've heard it described really simply as you don't think you're capable. So overwhelmed is really a thought I'm not capable. And if we have a list of 35 things, we're not. Not today, right? So find the one thing that's extra charged and tender, circle it and shift it. Just the one. there's probably one that's got the whole, because I like to think of it as when I get into that mode where I want to just drown in my own puddle of overwhelm, I imagine myself, I'm like, oh yeah, and now my brain wants to find everything that's wrong in my whole life. And I imagine myself pulling up this duvet cover of just, oh, it's too much. And I just want to hide under it, right? Because there is something like when we start to get into that slip of overwhelm, your brain goes on a hunt and it finds everything that you are not doing right. At least mine does, right? So if we can
Mhm.
just circle the one that feels the most charged and shift it one little way, make the sweaty Tim in a phone call, reach out to the friend and say, this has really got me twisted today, or journal on it, write a letter to it. If it's somebody in your life, write a letter you'll never send and burn it. Just take one little step on that one thing and the rest will shift. I hope
That
that's
was so
helpful.
good. No,
Okay.
that was incredible.
Oh,
And
good.
it is so needed because I do the same thing. It's a slippery slope when you're
Yeah.
feeling overwhelmed. And
Yeah.
I was actually just talking to a mama yesterday who is just stepping into business for the first time. And I was telling her, and this is kind of how I visualize it, is like we have this mountain, and if you go and you take one rock at a time and you move it, you're like, great, I did that rock. But if you try to move the whole mountain and only one rock drops over here, you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't do all of this. This
Yes.
other 95% of the mountain, right?
Yeah.
It's all about perspective and learning how to reframe your thinking so that you're able to celebrate those wins. And
Mm-hmm.
then once you start doing that, I will tell anybody listening from experience, once you start doing that, it becomes a snowball of achievement in your life, which builds confidence.
Yes. And it actually rewires our brain
Yeah.
in the best way, right? It's
Yeah.
literally step 10 in my like book of celebrate, 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 because your brain needs good food too. And what do we feed our brain all day long? Like it's designed to scan for threats. Like you said, it wants the whole
Survival.
mountain. Yeah. So when we give it good evidence of what is going right, our whole body can ease. And pretty soon we make room in our business to have those wins. And then pretty soon here come more. And then quantum physics gets in there and we're magnetic to more. So it is everything. It is everything. Yeah.
It is everything. Well, you are incredible. I appreciate this
You too.
conversation so much. It is it is so I love all of these conversations. It is so refreshing for somebody who has come through and made decisions the way that you and I have. Like it's very interesting how aligned it is.
Yeah.
In going from burnout to like I'm still working really hard but I'm loving every second of it and just feeling fulfilled. So
Yeah.
for anybody listening, if you would like to connect with Sarah and follow along, first of all, she was a news broadcaster. She is inspiring me to go live more. So follow
Yay.
her because she jumps on live all the time from everywhere in her
Oh, yeah.
car. I'm like the oh, I don't have makeup on. Oh, I should have better lighting. And you just do it and it's so inspiring. I really meant that the other day when I commented that because showing up is so important. So she's amazing. I will have all of her links in the description. She has a workshop coming up at the beginning of January to check out called The Power of Decision. And then she
Mhm.
has an in-person mastermind called Flourish, that she does quarterly, right?
Yep, that'll be
Quarterly.
quarterly. Yes,
So
yes.
we will put all of the links in the description. Connect with her on
Thank
social
you.
media. She's incredible. We're going to have you, well, number one, we're going to be reading this book in the community in 2026. She's already agreed to come and do a book club discussion with us. Um, and yeah, I thank you so much.
Thank
You are
you. Thank
absolutely
you.
incredible.
I feel the same about you. Is I told Erica, I'm like, I never chat in certain groups. Like I don't usually do that, and I feel like it was just a God thing. So thank you
A
so
God
much.
thing
That's
for sure.
awesome.
Meant to be, meant to
Yeah.
be. And mamas, if you are enjoying these conversations, please like and subscribe. If you're not in our free Facebook community, join us. We have incredible speakers coming in there as well in teaching practical business application, mindset tips. And it is really a place to be surrounded by like minded mamas.
So awesome. Way to
Awesome.
go.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Talk soon, guys.